Welcome back. In this video we'll be talking about complaining and how it is a total waste of time and one of the stupidest things that you could do. Because when you don't like something, you're supposed to change it. And if you can't change it, then you can change the way that you think about it. But complaining is a total waste of time. Never complain about something. You see, it never brings any good. It only makes a situation worse. As Marcus Aurelius said, do not be overheard complaining, not even to yourself. I actually really like this quote, you see, do not be overheard complaining, not even to yourself, because you see, we already know that complaining is bad, but the last part, not even to yourself, that's also very important. And most of the time, we don't even notice that we're complaining in our thoughts, we're complaining to ourselves. We almost do it unconsciously. And let me tell you a story that is related to this quote, and it's so interesting, and it actually happened, this situation, quite a lot of times. You see, for example, one time I was in university, and we were about to have a test, and this guy next to me was complaining. He was complaining about the fact that the teacher was late and we lost so many minutes already, and that he's handing out the test papers, it's taking so long and all of that. He started blaming the teacher. And then I thought to myself, what is this guy doing? Like, what a stupid thing to do. Why is this guy complaining over here? Like, what's the point? Why are you complaining? I was thinking this to myself. But do you see the interesting thing here? I was blaming him for complaining. But yet at the same time, I was complaining to myself. I was doing the same thing that I was blaming him for. You see, I was doing exactly the same thing. The only difference was that I was not saying it out loud, but I was also complaining and making the situation worse by complaining. This also happened other times when I was just complaining to myself, and when I read this quote from Marcus Aurelius, it really hit me that I was doing the same thing. Like, it's just as bad as if I was, not as bad, but I was also complaining, but just to myself, in my thoughts. So here's the key idea for this video. Take action instead of complaining. Do not complain, not even to yourself. If you can change it, then change it. Take action. If you can't change it, if it's out of your control, then change the way that you think about it. But never complain. It doesn't bring you any good. It's a total waste of time. And you see, complaining is easy. It's an easy thing to do. Any fool can complain, you see. It comes to us naturally. And it also gives us this momentary relief, you see. And of course, it's bad in the long run. And any fool can complain, but it takes a strong character to not complain, and not even to yourself. So remember that complaining never makes a situation better, it only makes it worse. For example, when you're saying it out loud, when you're complaining to other people, people will just dislike you even more. You'll be just annoying, and people won't want to talk to you. Do you like the kind of people that just complain all the time and never do anything about it, but just complain? No one likes those kind of people. And also, it's just a complete waste of time. And when you're complaining to yourself, it's the same thing. It's a complete waste of time, and you're just making the situation worse. First of all, you're making your mood worse. You see, you're becoming this negative person. You're building up resentment, and you're becoming angrier and angrier about the problem. Wasting time, not doing anything about it, not taking action. And it's completely unnecessary. You can just choose to not complain about something. And you see, the other thing is that, for example, when you're complaining about another person, how he's acting, his behavior, when you're complaining about someone else, it builds up resentment inside of you. And you start to resent the other person and have these negative thoughts towards him. But instead of complaining to yourself and building up this resentment, communicate it effectively. These thoughts that you're having, the problem that you're having with that person, communicate it to them instead of complaining to yourself and just dwelling in your thoughts and building up this resentment. And now let's talk about how to stop complaining. And you see, as I was reading this script, you see, I wrote here the best way to combat complaining and listed a couple of things. But as I read this, I'm just thinking to myself, this is stupid. How do you stop complaining? You might think, oh, but how do I stop complaining? Just stop. I mean, it's that simple, really. I mean, whenever you catch yourself complaining, just stop it and take some action instead. I mean, it's not that difficult. But let's go on with the script. Some of the ways that you can stop complaining. Well, you see, whenever we're complaining about something bad happening, you see. It's always something negative. So one thing that we could do is practice gratitude and get rid of our negative bias. Because you see, we have this negative bias that we tend to notice the negative far more frequently than the positive things around us. You see, if you get 100 compliments, but 2 insults, you're much more likely to remember those insults and focus on those instead of the hundreds of compliments that you got. So one of the best ways to get rid of this negative bias that we have is to practice gratitude, to broaden your perspective, to look at things from a bigger picture and see what you could be grateful for right now. You see, the key idea here is to pay attention to the hundreds of things that go right every single day instead of the 3 or 4 that go wrong. Because there are just so many things that you could be grateful for right now. And when you get out of this, narrow-minded bubble that you're in when you're complaining about something, and you realize the abundance that you have, how many things that you can be grateful for, the very fact that you're alive. When you do that, then you just won't complain about things. Then you're just grateful for all the things that you have. So that's the first strategy. Change your perspective. Look at things from a different way. Ask yourself, what could I be grateful for? List some of the things that is going right in this moment. Focus on the positive. And the other strategy is to ask yourself what is in your control and what's outside your control. And only focus on what's in your control. This is basically like the basic idea of Stoicism. What is in my control? Only focusing on that. You see, my opinions, my thoughts, my beliefs, what I do, these are all in my control. And most of the other things are out of my control, and it's completely useless to complain about it, to worry about it. And now you might be thinking, okay, but what if I have a bunch of rats and cockroaches in my apartment? Shouldn't I complain to my landlord? Well, you see, there's a difference between complaining and taking action. Complaining is when you just talk about something negatively without any next step on how to fix it. And that's of course completely useless. But talking to someone, communicating that, hey, there's a bunch of cockroaches in my apartment, that's taking action. So you see, there's a difference between complaining and taking action. As an end here, I'd like to read you this quote from Marcus Aurelius. He said that everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. If it's unendurable, then stop complaining. Your destruction will mean its end as well. Just remember, you can endure anything your mind can make endurable by treating it as your interest to do so. In your interest or in your nature. So remember to never complain, not even to yourself. It's completely useless. And now if you're interested, I'm doing free one-on-one calls. You can send me an email. We contact each other, we'll arrange a video call, and you can ask me anything, we can have a chat, whatever. If you're interested, email in the description. So thank you for watching this video, thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, leave a comment, I'll happily answer it. So thank you for being here, thank you for your presence. Have a great day, and goodbye.